EPFO at this point in time, where we are given to understand that several employers and employees have now reached out to Employee Provident Fund organization asking them to perhaps extend the date for availing higher pension. I want to come to you, Amit, at this point in time. EPFO is a story that we've been tracking here very, very closely. The formula for calculation of higher pension is out, but now the date is just around the corner, 3 days from now. A lot of people don't have enough time to avail that higher pension, and they're asking EPFO to increase the date or the deadline.
Yeah, so there is basically there's lack of clarity mostly on the 1.16% contribution, whether it's going to come from the employer or it is going to come from the government. So that is the center of the clarity that is not there. The clarification was issued by the EPFO on the 3rd of May when the second deadline was extended, time the deadline was extended. To the 26th of June, but that is where the thing is now.
So let me quickly on where the 1.16 is going to come from. The formula that we have right now, which has been shared by EPFO, it's going to come from our kitty. Is that correct?
So I'll tell you how it's going to work is the formula has not been changed, right? The pension formula that existed earlier continues to exist even today. Now, what this formula is made up of is an average of your total pensionable salary, and your total pensionable salary is basically your basic salary plus dearness allowance in the case of government employees, not as much in the private sector. So it's an average of, in the case of people who retired before 1st September 2014, it is the average of the last 12 months of their pensionable salary, basic salary, divided by 12 to give that average monthly figure into number of years of service, which has a maximum cap of 35. Divided by 70. Why 70? Because 35 by 70, 1 by 2, half of your basic income should be your pensionable salary.
Right.
Now, this formula changes slightly in the calculation of the average basic salary or pensionable salary for those who retired after 2014. And instead of taking a 12-month average, you take a 60-month average, and that into number of years of service divided by 70 becomes your total pensionable or your total pension. Now, there is a cap to that.
People like me who may have failed in mathematics when we were growing up, it essentially means that I'm going to get half of my basic salary as pension if I go for higher pension.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, if your basic salary, let's say, is 50,000 rupees, right? Technically, when you retire after serving for 35 years, you should get 25,000 rupees as your pension. Unfortunately, there's a cap to that, and the cap is 15,000 rupees. So, higher pension makes sense for perhaps employees who have a basic salary of, or a pensionable weighted averaged out salary of about 30,000. Then they get 50% of that salary as pension. Now, of course, this formula got disclosed by EPFO. For some reason, it was very closely guarded, but it got disclosed and uncovered only a couple of weeks ago. And the deadline to opt for higher pension got extended from 3rd of May, which was the earlier deadline, to 26th of June. And 26th of June is around the corner.
Just
We're 3 days away from 26th of June. And unfortunately, the EPFO website continues to be glitchy. The list of documents required to opt for higher pension, it requires a joint certificate declaration between the employer and the employee.
And all the previous employers as well?
And all the past, yeah. So if you've changed jobs, for example, and your average salary has to be of the last 5 years, and of course you look at the past employers also that you've been associated with, and all that paperwork, all that documentation, and all that to be uploaded and sort of, authenticated by a very, very glitchy, almost always glitchy EPFO website is obviously an issue, and that is resulting in a lot of folks who did opt for this higher pension to seek an extension in the 26th June deadline.
And Amit, we are given to understand they're all knocking on the doors of EPFO asking, and through their representatives, of course, asking for an extension.
Yeah, and they're asking for clarity regarding calculations also. So it seems what I've come to believe, that the wage records at the end maintained by EPFO are not probably in all cases the same as the ones maintained at the employer side. And the biggest thing is what happens to employers that don't exist anymore. or those that have merged. Additionally, there is a problem with people who have already retired. So that is, these are the discrepancies that need to be basically clarified. I'm sure, like you said, the website has a lot of things which basically they're there, but they're not really clear.
Okay.
So yeah, so the deadline is around the corner. There are things that need to be clarified. So
Right.
I do not. It's 2 times the deadline has been extended. I'm not too sure that they will extend it or they'll just issue a
Or
clarification.
they need to make better websites there as well. I think a lot of my colleagues have also been struggling to log into
On-
EPFO website,
on
and
the-
it being a government website, I think the expectations are already very low. But if you're not able to meet the deadline because the website is glitching, and that's a big problem.
Low expectation on the upside with respect to EPFO, they have added 17.2 lakh members this year, out of which 8.47 lakh are members who have come for the first time applying for social security coverage. So yeah, so their pool has increased.
That data is of course used often to calculate the employment that is being generated in the country, and more people getting employed. EPFO data therefore becomes the standard, but EPFO is now being asked to increase or rather extend the deadline from 26th of June to further. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not.